Alan Morton met up with her.
Mention Gwyneth Paltrow and the name Brad Pitt automatically springs to mind. They were once Hollywood's golden couple, but now the engagement is off and Gwyneth is a big star in her own right. I've come here to Berlin to talk to the actress about her new movie, which incidentally she daren't show her father because of the nude scenes, and of course life post-Brad.
If you can sort of bear in mind kind of the Romeo and Juliet, you know, kind of taking an English classic and kind of turning it upside down. She's basically an abused child, you know. I mean, she's sort of been raised by this insane woman.
It'll only break your heart, it's a fact.
Every time she's been mean, she's been to a boy, she's been rewarded.
Even though I warn you, even though I guarantee you that the girl will only hurt you terribly, you'll still pursue her.
She's overtly sexual, isn't it? Which obviously for you in the film meant that you basically had some nude scenes to do.
Yeah.
How did you cope with that?
I was quite shy about it. I mean, it was uncomfortable, but, you know, I've been friends with Ethan for a really long time, and he was really sweet about it. You know, he sort of was just kind of joking about it and great, and you know what I mean? It just made it, he just made it easy. When they cut, it was kind of embarrassing, like giving him a robe, you know.
Your parents are both in the business too. I mean, how have they found it? Because, I mean, you're all over the place like this, aren't you, for a start? How have they been about it? Were you embarrassed for them at all?
Yeah, well, I told my father he wasn't allowed to see it, so he hasn't. I don't want him to see the movie. But my mom's seen it. My mom and my grandmother came to the premiere, but not my daddy. I didn't want him to go. I don't want my uncle or grandpa to go. I don't want any of them to. My brother went, and he was like, oh, my God, you know.
Are you in love again? And if you are, who with? Because there's so much speculation.
The record is that I've learned my lesson, and I don't really talk about that stuff anymore just because, you know, I mean, you know, you think it's harmless and like, oh, you know, and you can talk about it, but the truth is, it actually, I think, deleteriously affects the relationship, you know, when you talk about it and let the whole world in.
Do you think maybe it's that sort of intrusion that perhaps, you know, brought the downfall of you and Brad, because you were both up there, weren't you? Both so much in the spotlight and so much in the news.
And it's a strain on any relationship when it's so public, and we had, you know, an extra amount of pressure just because for some reason we seem to, I think, fulfill something for people, do you know what I mean? And it was great, and he's great, he's a lovely guy, and, you know, and it's like, for us, it's just like, and the relationship didn't work out, and it's fine, you know what I mean? But for the world, it seems to be this huge deal, and it just kind of mystifies me, because, you know, for me, it's like, you know, what, and they make such a drama out of it, and they, you know, they print all these things that aren't true, and I didn't even read any of it, but this are the things your friends say, like, is it true that, you know, you went off with, like, 6 bodyguards, or, you know, it's just like, come on, you know, if these people are writing these things, and you think, well, let them, if it sells their papers and they want to write about it, let them, you know.
Now, since Emma, you've very much become a star in your own right. You've been thrust into the spotlight. How are you finding that people are very interested in where you go and what you do?
Well, you know, it's odd. It's sort of hard to get used to, but at the same time, it's, you know, it's nice. It's a very tight rope to try and balance. You know, it's like you don't want to give too much, you know, and you don't want to not give enough, and you want to protect who you are, but you don't want to be, you know, inaccessible, and people are following you around, and people are asking you inappropriate questions, and you have to be kind of graceful about it. It's hard, you know, it takes a lot of energy and kind of finesse, you know, but I'm sort of figuring it all out at the moment.
That must be quite a hard balance.
What larks, eh?
What larks?
Pip.
Pip.
That's great.